Oh, well now. Welcome to the Collapse Experiment, where the news does not disappoint to bring me something to talk about, even today. Today is Thursday. It's the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. That thing, that event that FDR allowed to happen so that we could get involved in the war, because we were already supplying weapons to Russia, we were already supplying weapons to Britain and all the other allies. Yes. Read a history book. We already had deciphered the Japanese code. We knew they were on their way. We didn't bother to tell anybody about it. Yeah, so in other disappointing news, Brittney Griner, the WNBA player who nobody had ever heard of before because nobody watches the WNBA. If it wasn't for her being in jail, I wouldn't know it existed, except for casual jokes about women's basketball. But those are just jokes, right? It doesn't really exist, does it? So yeah, what did Biden do? Our president, our guy who was placed in office. What did he do? This chick who decided it was a good idea to go to Russia as part of the WNBA, bring along her THC vape pen, otherwise known as marijuana, which is highly illegal in said country. But this brings about a point that I want to get to about us Americans and our mentality. So, here in Michigan, marijuana is legal. You can get it medicinally, you can get it recreationally. They tax the shit out of it. It's a cash cow for the state. However, even though it is legal, it is illegal for you to drive and operate under the influence. It's illegal for you to go to work under the influence. If you are injured at work, one of the things they do besides send you to the ER is have you tested for alcohol and drugs. So of course, if it's in your system, you don't get workman's comp. Oh no, you get sent home, unemployed, and a bill. So at work, it's not uncommon for people to have random tests as well, as one of my former employers did. So what happened? Well, a bunch of people freaked out because it was on a Monday. They had 2 days off, which meant that it was downtime, and recreational things will happen during downtime. So they're freaking out, and one of the things that they kept saying was, but it's legal. But it's legal. Like, how can they test for that? It's legal. It's not, I'm not on it now, but I know it's still in my system. What am I going to do? And this is where Brittney Griner took that to an extreme. We, as Americans, seem to think that our laws, it's not legal federally. I'm going to point that out. Federally, it is illegal. Federally, she broke a crime. She committed a crime. So why the federal government is bailing her ass out by trading the merchant of death. The merchant of death. That's the nickname of the guy that Biden is handing over to Russia to trade for Brittney Griner. The merchant of death. That sounds like a fair trade. So, it's illegal federally. So, she didn't just break a law in Russia. She broke a law in the United States as well, according to the federal government. Whether or not she should get 10 years, I don't know. I mean, it is Russia. It is their laws. When you fly over there, you agree to abide by those laws. Even in the United States, there's no excuse for ignorance of the law. So it doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me that we are trading a known criminal, somebody who is responsible for the death of countless people, for this entitled chick who wanted to bring her weed pen with her to Russia. Intelligence apparently is not it's not mandatory for somebody to be in sports, you know, especially when they travel abroad. Seems to be a bit odd. Maybe somebody should have sat down with these people before they flew over and said, now you're going to Russia, here's the rules, you're going to want to keep your nose clean. Hell, they should have just played Burt Crusher's Machine. tell his Russian story. Probably would have learned more than what they went over there with. But this chick, I have a feeling she thought that she could go over there, do what she wanted, just like she does at home. Nobody would say anything. And keep in mind, I think part of me thinks, okay, this is completely hilarious. Because in 2020, yes, I looked it up, Brittney Griner was supporting Black Lives Matter, a communist organization. and where was she? Oh, Russia. Technically not communist anymore, but they're communist. Let's get that straight. Goes over to the motherland, the former home of the USSR. Something that Black Lives Matter just wishes they could do. So she's supporting this organization, which, by the way, wanted the downfall of the United States. It was on their website. So she's supporting this group, probably sending them money, wearing their t-shirts, out there protesting, having to make comments about how, like, I'm protesting, but I'm not, like, protesting against the military. No, nobody cares, okay? You're supporting a communist group, a group of Marxists. Oh, sorry, somebody's gonna put it in the comment section, communists and Marxists are not the same thing. Even though they were both created by the same guy, and there's only very few details that are different between the two ideas. Yeah, I get it. So, anyways, they're trained Marxists. They're a bunch of fucking commies. And, she ends up in the former homeland of state communism, right? And yes, I know Marx was a German, but for fuck's sakes, who was the one that was implementing communism more than anybody else? And then she gets busted for a weed pen. I mean, like, how much more beautiful could that be? And then our commander-in-chief, the brilliant guy, he doesn't free the former Marine / school teacher that is in prison over in Russia. You know, somebody who actually, like, joined the military and probably fought for this country, who's still in prison in Russia for what I believe to be bullshit charges. Oh no, he doesn't trade the Merchant of Death for him, or both of them. That is how brilliant the trade went. No, he doesn't get both of them released. Oh no, he gets the lesbian basketball player who thinks that she can just do whatever the fuck she wants. And doesn't like the United States. I'm just going to point that out. Doesn't like the country that she lives in, protested against it, and that same government that she was marching against is freeing her. in probably the worst prisoner exchange ever in history. What the... So, if you are wanting to wake up this morning and get pissed off or have something to be pissed off about, this would probably be it. Keep in mind, our government couldn't even get their asses out of a chair to send out checks during COVID. They don't know how to read the science. They can't form a budget to work under, but they want to eyeball every transaction of $600 or more in your bank account so that they can tax it. There's all these things that they're horrible at that they should probably focus on and maybe learn how to do it better. No, these are the things that they should be doing, but instead they're focusing on freeing a basketball player, a lesbian basketball player who hates this country, who thought that she could go overseas and do whatever the fuck she wanted in another country and not abide by their laws. And we're freeing one of the worst people in our prisons in order to get her back. Meanwhile, white people suck. Yeah, they didn't do it to free the other guy. Fascinating. So, that's about it. That's what our government is up to these days. Priorities. They don't seem to have any.